Aiden and Lila swore they would stay just friends. That was the promise, simple, safe, and unbreakable. Until the night the forest came alive with secrets neither of them were ready to face. It started with a letter, an innocuous envelope, glowing faintly under the moonlight, whispering truths that could destroy everything their families had built. And then the first warning came, a shadow with eyes like fire, stalking the trees. By morning, lives would be shattered, loyalties tested, and a decades-old feud would drag them into a battle far larger than either of them imagined. Love, trust, and survival weren't just at stake. They were the only thing standing between them and complete annihilation. Because when families make promises in the dark, sometimes the only way to survive is to break every rule together. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more thrilling stories. They met the summer they both turned 16, at a lakeside bonfire their families had attended every year since before they were born. Aiden Sinclair and Lila Reyes, two kids who shared nothing but sarcasm, a competitive streak, and a mutual vow to avoid the chaos that tied their families together like a tangled fishing net. Their parents had been best friends once. Until they weren't. A business deal gone wrong, accusations whispered behind closed doors, and two families split down the center. From then on, the rule was simple. No more Sinclairs with Reyes. No more Reyes with Sinclairs. So Aiden and Lila made a promise, half sincere, half defiant, to stay just friends. Nothing more. Nothing dangerous. Nothing that could give anyone ammunition to drag their lives deeper into the feud. But a decade later, the universe had other plans. When Aiden returned to town after years abroad, he didn't expect Lila to still be there, or to be standing in his childhood driveway, arguing with his father like she owned the entire cul-de-sac. Her eyes flashed the moment she saw him, surprise melting into something he couldn't read. "Back already?" she said, crossing her arms. "I thought you'd sworn off this town for good." He wanted to respond with something clever. Instead, all he managed was, "You cut your hair." "And you didn't," she shot back, but her voice trembled in that way she hated. From that moment, the promise started to crack. Everywhere he turned, she was there. At the library, at the farmer's market, at the lake where they once carved their initials into an old oak tree before deciding it meant nothing. Except it had meant everything. And when Lila's mother fell mysteriously ill, it was Aiden, despite the family feud, despite the ancient grudge, who showed up with meals, with late-night rides to the hospital, with silent company when words felt too heavy. "Why are you doing this?" she had whispered one night, eyes glistening. "Because you need me," he said. "And because I." But he never finished. Because that was the night both families found out. The next morning, Lila's father stormed into the Sinclair yard, shouting accusations that echoed across the neighborhood. Manipulation, betrayal, hidden agendas. And Aiden's father fired back, claiming Lila was using his son for sympathy, for leverage, for revenge. Aiden grabbed Lila's hand and ran, past the oak tree, past the lake, all the way to the ridge overlooking the town. Breathless. Terrified. Closer than they'd ever been. "We can't keep pretending," Aiden said, finally letting his heart speak. "Aiden," her voice broke. "If we do this, everything explodes. Maybe it needs to." She leaned into him, forehead touching his, the world quiet for the first time in years. But then, a shiver of movement behind them. A branch cracking. Footsteps. A voice they both recognized too well. "Aiden." "Step away from her." It was his father. And he wasn't alone. Lila's breath hitched. Aiden's hand tightened around hers. "What do we do?" she whispered. He looked into her eyes, fear, love, defiance all tangled together, and made a choice. "We run," he murmured. "Together." But before they could take a single step, a second voice rang out, sharp and shaking. "You don't know what she hasn't told you." Lila froze. Aiden turned slowly toward her. "Lila, what does he mean?" Her silence was deafening. And then she said the words that fractured the world beneath them. "Aiden, there's something you need to know about why I stayed in this town." Aiden's pulse hammered in his ears as the wind shifted across the ridge, carrying the scent of pine and rain and dread. His father stood several yards away, jaw clenched, eyes blazing with a fury that seemed years in the making. Behind him, Mr. Reyes hovered like a shadow, expression unreadable, but his presence alone made Lila tremble. "Lila," Aiden said softly. "What did you mean?" She stepped back, their hands still linked but straining apart like a thread pulled too tight. Her eyes glistened as if she were mentally sifting through 1,000 things she wanted to say, and 1,000 things she feared to reveal. "I didn't just stay because of my mom," she whispered, voice fragile. "I stayed because—" "Don't," her father warned sharply. "Not here." Lila flinched. The command cut through the air like a blade. Aiden's throat tightened. "You don't get to silence her. Not anymore." "It's for her own protection," Mr. Reyes replied. A laugh escaped Aiden, sharp, disbelieving. "Protection? From who?" "My father? This ridiculous feud." His father stepped forward. "You have no idea what you're talking about, Aiden. Lila's situation is complicated. And dangerous." "Dangerous." The word slid through Aiden like ice. Lila squeezed his hand, just once, a slight, desperate pressure. "Aiden, please. I need you to trust me." "I do," he said immediately. Too immediately. Her chin quivered. "Then let me explain." "Lila, enough," her father snapped. But she didn't stop. She took a shaky breath and said, "I didn't stay in town because I was stuck. I stayed because someone had to keep watch. Someone had to keep track of what your father was doing." Aiden's world tilted. "My father?" he echoed. "What are you talking about?" His father stiffened, a flash of something, fear, in his eyes. Mr. Reyes raised a hand as if to stop Lila, but she stepped away from them all, distancing herself from every force pulling at her. "The business deal our families fought over wasn't just a deal," she said. "It was a cover. For something bigger. Something the Sinclairs didn't want getting out." Aiden's stomach twisted. "Lila, that's impossible. My dad wouldn't." "I have proof," she said, voice breaking. "And I'm the reason the authorities haven't stepped in yet. I've been protecting both families, trying to keep what happened years ago from destroying everything." Aiden stared at her, torn between disbelief and the sinking realization that she had never lied to him before, not once. "Show him, Lila," Mr. Reyes said quietly, defeated. "He deserves to know." She hesitated only a moment before reaching into the inside pocket of her jacket. From it she pulled a small, weathered envelope. Aiden blinked. "What is that?" "A letter," she whispered. "From your mother." The world stopped. My mother?" Aiden's voice cracked. His mother had died years ago, before everything fell apart. Lila nodded, tears finally spilling. "She wrote it for you. She gave it to my mother the night before she died. And she told her, if anything happened, to give it to me. Not your father." Aiden stepped back, breath gone, heart stuttering painfully. His father looked like he'd been struck. "Lila," Aiden said, voice hollow, "why would my mom leave something with you, and not with me? Not with my dad?" Lila held the envelope to her chest, as if it burned her palms. "Because," she said, voice trembling, "your mother knew something about the business, about the feud, about how she died." A soft gasp left Aiden. "And she didn't trust your father with the truth." Aiden staggered, the ground swaying beneath him. His father reached toward him. "Aiden, he's so helpless. Whatever she thinks she knows, whatever is in that letter, it's been manipulated, twisted." But Aiden barely heard him. He stared at Lila, at the letter, at everything he had trusted for years suddenly slipping through his fingers. "Give it to me," he whispered. Lila looked torn apart. "If I do, nothing will ever be the same." "Lila." He stepped closer. "Please." She looked at him, and made her choice. She held out the envelope. Aiden reached for it. And just as his fingers brushed the paper, a gunshot split the air. The envelope flew from her hand. Lila gasped, staggering backward. "Aiden!" she choked. He lunged toward her. Behind him, someone screamed. Someone cursed. Someone ran. But all Aiden saw was Lila collapsing into his arms. Blood blossoming across her sleeve. And the envelope, the one thing that held the truth, spiraling off the ridge, carried by the wind into the dark trees below. Aiden's heart lurched as he caught Lila in his arms, her body trembling against his. The scent of blood hit him before he could fully process what had happened. His hands shook as he pressed against the wound, desperate to stop the spreading red, but the world around them had gone eerily quiet, except for the rustle of leaves and the distant murmur of shouting from their parents below. "Stay with me, Lila. Don't you dare," his voice cracked. Her eyes, wide with shock, met his. "Aiden, I think I knew this might happen." "Who did this?" he demanded, scanning the ridge. But the darkness was thick, concealing movement. A shadow flitted past a tree, a fleeting glimpse of a figure disappearing into the woods. It's not supposed to be me," Lila gasped, her hand weakly clutching his arm. "I didn't tell them, and I didn't tell them." He froze. "Didn't tell who?" But before she could answer, another gunshot cracked the night. This time, it shattered the air closer to them, the bullet whizzing so near it grazed the ridge and sent a shower of gravel down the slope. Aiden's father and Mr. Reyes had appeared on the ridge as well, faces pale, weapons drawn, not for him, but scanning the darkness with a terror that made Aiden's blood run cold. "Run!" Lila gasped, yanking him back. "Run where?" Aiden shouted. "We can't just." But Lila didn't wait. She shoved him down the slope, following instinct rather than logic. The forest swallowed them, the envelope now lost in the chaos, the letter carrying the secrets of generations, vanishing into the darkness below. Branches whipped their faces. Roots threatened to trip them. Aiden held her close, ignoring the scratches and tears to his jacket. But with each step he could feel the weight of her words, the truth she had almost revealed, the danger her family had been protecting, and the shot that had shattered their fragile moment. "Why are they doing this?" Aiden yelled into the night. "Who's behind this?" Lila's sobs were quiet but urgent. "I don't know. But it's bigger than us, Aiden. Bigger than the feud, bigger than the families." A loud, cracking laugh echoed through the trees, cold and deliberate, chilling them to the bone. "Looking for this?" a voice called, smooth mocking. A figure stepped into the dim moonlight, holding the letter, the envelope, between gloved fingers. Aiden's stomach sank. The secrets, the truths, everything their parents had fought to hide, were now in the hands of someone outside the feud entirely. Someone who had been watching, waiting. Lila clutched his arm. "We need to get it back." But her voice faltered, fear breaking through. "If we fail, this could be the end of both our families. Maybe even us." Aiden met her gaze, determination hardening his features. "Then we don't fail. Whatever it takes, we survive. Together." But as they prepared to step forward, the figure in the moonlight raised the envelope, and the glint of a gun caught the reflection of the moon. "Careful," the figure said, voice dripping with menace. "One wrong move, and everything ends tonight." Aiden and Lila froze. The forest seemed to close in around them. The air was thick with tension. Their hands instinctively found each other, gripping tightly. The gun didn't lower. The envelope didn't drop. And somewhere deep in the shadows, a new player stepped closer, silent, waiting. The figure in the shadows didn't move. Only the slow rise and fall of their chest betrayed life. Aiden's grip on Lila's hand tightened, every nerve on fire. "Who are you?" he demanded. The figure chuckled, low and dangerous. "I think you know me, Aiden. You just didn't expect me to show up." Lila froze. Her hand went cold in his. "No, it can't be." Aiden's mind raced. The voice was familiar, too familiar, carrying authority and menace in equal measure. And then it hit him, the cruel twist of fate that had been orchestrated for years. "You," Aiden whispered, voice trembling. "It's him. Oliver Kane." The figure stepped forward into the moonlight. A tall man in his 40s, sharp features, eyes like ice. The same man their parents had both tried to keep at bay, the one whispered about in every heated argument between the families, the one whose name had been buried in every rumor about the real reason the feud began. "Oliver Kane," Lila breathed. "You're the one my mother warned me about." Aiden felt a chill run down his spine. "What do you want?" Oliver smiled, thin-lipped, cold. What do you think I want? That letter? It's more than a letter, boys. More than a confession. It's the key to everything your families have been hiding. Money, power, revenge, death, even your mother's deaths. You've been playing in a sandbox, thinking this was about old grudges. But this is the endgame. Aiden looked at Lila. Her eyes were wide, but there was that same stubborn fire he'd loved since childhood. We can't let him get it, she whispered. Oliver laughed. But you already failed. That letter? It's mine now. And when your fathers wake up tomorrow, they'll know exactly who to blame. Aiden's chest tightened. Why wait until now? Because, Oliver said slowly, savoring each word, you're the only ones naive enough to believe you could ever escape your family's shadows. And now you're trapped. Together. Aiden glanced at Lila, every instinct screaming fight or flight, but the forest seemed to tighten around them like a cage. He felt the weight of everything, the secrets, the feud, the letter, the danger, and realized one truth. If they wanted to survive, they had to act. And act fast. He opened his mouth to speak, but a sudden snap of a branch behind them made both freeze. The shadows shifted. Something, or someone, was coming. Oliver Kane's smile widened. And here comes my favorite part. The others are almost here. Your parents, your allies, or should I say the pawns? We'll see how loyal they really are. Aiden's heart pounded. He had one hand on Lila, the other on the nearest tree trunk for leverage. He could feel the danger pressing in from every side. Lila leaned close, her lips barely brushing his ear. We have to get that letter back. Whatever it takes. Promise me. I promise, he said, voice steady despite the storm of fear inside him. Oliver Kane's eyes glittered with amusement. Good. Then let's play a little game. Only one question. Who leaves alive tonight, and who dies trying? The wind howled through the trees, the forest swallowing the three of them in shadows and uncertainty. And in the distance, a single scream pierced the night. Aiden's grip on Lila's hand was iron-tight as they crouched behind a thick oak. The forest around them was alive with tension, the distant shouts of their parents, the soft crunch of leaves underfoot, and the cold, predatory laughter of Oliver Kane echoing through the trees. We can't let him leave with that letter, Lila whispered, her voice trembling but fierce. It contains the truth about everything. Our families, the feud, the deaths, even your mom. Aiden's jaw tightened. Then we get it back. Now. They moved quietly, weaving between trees and rocks, hearts pounding. Every snap of a twig made them freeze. Every shadow could hide a deadly threat. And then a glint caught Aiden's eye, something metallic half buried in the leaves. The envelope. There, he breathed. That's it. But before he could reach it, a hand snatched it. Oliver Kane stepped out of the shadows, holding it triumphantly. Looking for this? Lila stepped forward. Give it back. Oliver chuckled darkly. Little Lila Reyes. Still fearless, I see. But bravery doesn't help you tonight. Aiden's mind raced. If they tried to fight him head-on, they'd lose. But if they waited, maybe they could outsmart him. Lila, he whispered, we need a distraction. Can you draw him toward the ridge? Her eyes widened. Are you crazy? Hill. Trust me, he said, his voice firm. We can get it back. She nodded reluctantly. Taking a deep breath, she stepped out into the moonlight. Hey, Kane, over here. Oliver's head snapped toward her. Running into my trap willingly? Bold. Catch me if you can. Lila yelled, sprinting toward the ridge, dodging trees, kicking up leaves. Her movement was fast, chaotic, exactly what Aiden needed. As Oliver lunged after her, Aiden darted forward from the other side, keeping low. He slid behind Oliver, snatching the envelope from his grip. The paper was fragile in his hands, almost glowing in the dim light. Got it, Aiden whispered, heart hammering. Oliver spun around, fury in his eyes. You insolent! But before he could react, Lila's scream split the air. Aiden whipped his head around. She'd stumbled near the ridge, her foot caught in a root. Oliver was back on her in a flash. No! Aiden roared, racing to her side. He tackled Oliver, the two men crashing to the ground. Lila scrambled up, grabbing the envelope, holding it tightly to her chest. "You're not getting away with this," she yelled, her voice breaking with fury and fear. Oliver struggled, but Aiden pinned him, their bodies twisting on the mossy forest floor. And then, a sharp crack echoed, two more figures emerging from the shadows. Aiden's father and Mr. Reyes, guns drawn. "Stop!" Aiden shouted, freezing. "It's him! He's the one!" Oliver smirked from the ground, his eyes gleaming. "Ah, your parents finally made it. But are they really on your side?" Aiden's father's hand trembled on his weapon. "Don't." Lila grabbed Aiden's arm. "Trust me. We have to end this now." She stepped forward, holding the envelope like a shield. "Oliver Kane. This ends tonight. No more lies. No more secrets. No more deaths." The wind whipped around them, the forest tense as a drumbeat of destiny. Oliver laughed once, a sound that made the hair on Aiden's neck stand up. "Oh, Lila, you have no idea what you've just unleashed." Aiden's eyes met hers. "Whatever happens, we're in this together. Right? Always," she said, gripping his hand. A loud roar split the night, a sound neither of them expected. Something massive crashed through the trees behind Oliver. He froze. Then, with a terrifying speed, a figure emerged from the darkness, and it wasn't human. Eyes glowing, teeth bared, and claws slicing the air. Aiden's heart stopped. Lila gasped. What is that?" Oliver Kane's confident smirk vanished. "Impossible!" The forest erupted into chaos. And in that moment, the envelope, the truth of their families, the secret of their mother's deaths, everything, slipped from Lila's hands and flew into the darkness, carried away by the wind. Aiden reached for her. "Hold on." But the creature lunged. The forest erupted into chaos. The massive creature's roar echoed like a storm, shaking branches and scattering leaves. Its eyes glowed like molten gold, and its long claws tore into the ground as it advanced toward them. Aiden shoved Lila behind him, trying to shield her, but even he couldn't hide the terror in his chest. Oliver Kane scrambled backward, his confidence shattered. "No, this can't be," he muttered, eyes darting wildly. "It wasn't supposed to. Stop talking." Aiden shouted, narrowly avoiding a swipe from the creature. "Lila, we have to move." Lila grabbed his arm. "The envelope. It flew into the trees." Aiden cursed under his breath. That envelope held the truth about everything. The feud, the deaths, the lies their parents had kept buried for decades. If they lost it now, everything was lost. "Listen," Lila said, her voice shaking but resolute. "Whatever this thing is, it's connected. I can feel it. It's protecting the letter, or punishing us for taking it." Aiden's eyes widened. "You mean, it knows what's inside?" She nodded. That letter, it's not just paper. It holds proof, Aiden. Proof about our families, about the deal, about Mom, and your mother. Whoever controls it controls the truth." Oliver Kane shouted, trying to regain composure. "It's mine. Give it to me." The creature growled, low and menacing, forcing Oliver to step back. Aiden realized something terrifying. The threat wasn't just physical, it was tied to the secrets of the feud. Whoever had unleashed this creature, or whoever it was, had engineered it to guard the letter. Aiden grabbed Lila's hand. "We need to distract it. Together. Do you trust me?" She nodded, fear and determination mixing in her eyes. "Always." He counted to 3 in his head. Then they dashed Aiden toward the creature, drawing its attention, while Lila dove after the envelope, which had lodged in a fork of the old oak tree they had once carved their initials into. The creature roared and lunged after Aiden, who rolled to the side just in time. Lila climbed the tree, fingertips brushing the envelope. Its glow pulsed like a heartbeat, as if aware she was touching it. She yanked it free. Aiden called out, "Got it." But just as they turned to escape, Oliver Kane blocked their path, his gun aimed. "Step aside and I might let you live." Lila's voice rang out, firm and fearless. "No more, Kane. We end this tonight. Whatever it takes." Oliver laughed, but it made the creature hesitate, growling softly, unsure. Lila looked at Aiden. Whatever this is, whatever the letter wants, it's telling us we're the key. Together. Aiden nodded. Then we finish this. Not just for us, but for everyone they've hurt. For our families. For Mom. They stepped forward, shoulder to shoulder, ready to face Victor and Oliver. Victor's eyes widened as the envelope pulsed violently in Lila's hands. Impossible, no one can wield that power, except. Aiden squeezed Lila's hand. Except us. Together. A sudden surge of light exploded from the envelope, blinding the two men, the forest shaking, the creature letting out a deafening roar. When the light faded, Aiden and Lila stood in the clearing, alone. The envelope lay between them, glowing faintly, but when they looked around, both Victor Kane and Oliver Kane were gone. Lila's knees nearly buckled. Did we? Aiden shook his head, still scanning the shadows. I don't know, but it's not over. They'll be back. And the letter, it's not done with us either. She looked at him, eyes wide, heart racing. Then we stay together. No matter what comes next. Aiden cupped her face gently. Always. We promised we'd stay just friends, but some promises are meant to change. They leaned into each other, the weight of the night pressing down, the secrets of their families, the danger of Kane's empire, and the glowing letter that could rewrite everything. They were together against it all. And then, a faint, sinister whisper drifted through the trees, chilling them both. You think you've won, but the real game is just beginning. A shadow moved in the distance, glimmering red eyes catching the moonlight. The envelope pulsed violently as if warning them. Aiden tightened his grip on Lila's hand. Whatever it is, we face it together. The wind rustled through the trees, carrying a promise and a threat that their fight, their love, and their lives were only just beginning. Aiden and Lila stood in the clearing, the glowing envelope trembling in Lila's hands. The forest had grown unervingly still. The creature was gone, Victor and Oliver Kane had vanished, and the only sound was the whisper of the wind through the trees. But the letter's glow pulsed like a heartbeat, demanding attention. We can't wait any longer, Lila said, her voice tight but resolute. We have to read it. Tonight. Aiden nodded. We do it together. Carefully, they unfolded the fragile paper. The writing was precise, the ink faded, but the words carried the weight of secrets decades in the making. To those who seek the truth, the feud you think began over business was a lie. Your families were pawns in a game orchestrated by a third party, Victor Kane. He sought to consolidate power over both families' fortunes and destroy anyone who might oppose him. The deaths of our mothers were not accidents. They were warnings. And the letter you hold contains everything he tried to bury: ledgers, confessions, and proof of crimes spanning decades. The creature you saw is a guardian, a manifestation of the power tied to this knowledge. It will protect the truth until the rightful heirs, those willing to stand together, claim it. Trust each other or all will be lost. Your mothers believed in you. I believe in you. Protect each other, and the truth will survive. Sinclair, asterisk. Aiden's hands shook. My mother, she knew everything. She planned for us to survive this together. Lila's eyes filled with tears. That's why she trusted me with the letter. Why I stayed in this town all those years. To keep it safe, to keep you safe. A sudden rustling in the shadows made them spin. From between the trees stepped Oliver Kane, his face twisted with fury, and behind him, Victor Kane emerged from the darkness, the air thick with menace. You think reading that changes anything? Victor growled. That knowledge won't save you. It only makes you a target. Aiden stepped forward, anger and fear blending into resolve. It doesn't make us targets. It makes us the ones who can stop you. Oliver laughed bitterly. Stop me? Against everything we've built. Lila held the envelope higher, the glow intensifying. No. Against you. Together. Victor's eyes narrowed. Then prove it. The forest trembled again, the creature from before materializing from the shadows. It circled them, massive and terrifying, but it paused when it saw Aiden and Lila together, the envelope between them pulsing in response. "This ends tonight," Aiden shouted. "We're done running. You've controlled our families for too long." The creature roared, Victor and Oliver faltered, and Aiden lunged forward, grabbing the envelope. Lila followed instantly, their hands gripping it tightly. A surge of energy shot through them, blindingly bright, and the forest seemed to bend around the pulse of power. Oliver screamed in rage, Victor shouted in disbelief. The ground cracked beneath them, the creature roared, and a blinding wave of light erupted from the envelope, knocking both canes back. When the light faded, the clearing was empty. The canes were gone. The creature was gone. Only Aiden and Lila remained, panting, the envelope glowing faintly in Lila's hands. They looked at each other, the weight of everything. The feud, their mother's sacrifices, the danger, the love, pressing down. Aiden pulled her close. "We did it, together." Lila shook her head, a mixture of relief and terror on her face. "We survived, but the letter, it isn't done with us. And neither are they. Victor Kane won't let this go. Oliver won't either." Aiden kissed her forehead, heart pounding. "Then we'll be ready. Whatever comes next, we face it together. No more running. No more hiding. Just us." Lila's hand rested over his heart. "Us," she whispered. The envelope pulsed one last time in her hands, then went still. But from the shadows, a faint laugh echoed, a low, sinister sound that promised the game wasn't over. Aiden and Lila held each other tightly, knowing that the real battle, the battle for their families, their love, and their future, was only just beginning. And in the darkness of the forest, eyes gleamed red, watching, waiting, planning. The forest was quiet again, but the tension lingered like smoke. Aiden and Lila stood in the clearing, the envelope, their mother's legacy, still glowing faintly in Lila's hands. "We have to end this," Aiden said, his jaw tight. "We can't just survive. We have to stop them, Victor, Oliver, and anyone else who thinks they can control us." Lila nodded. "And we do it tonight. No more hiding. No more waiting. We've survived this long because we've stayed together. That's our strength." He took her hand, gripping it tightly. "Always." The wind shifted, and from the shadows emerged a figure neither of them expected, someone they thought lost. A familiar face, pale in the moonlight, eyes filled with both fear and determination. Aiden's mother's old friend and confidant, Eleanor Sinclair. "You found it," Eleanor said, voice trembling but strong. "The letter. The truth. But they're not done. Victor Kane. He's been planning this for decades. He's been manipulating every step your families took, every feud, every death. And now, he'll do anything to reclaim it." Aiden swallowed hard. "Then we confront him. Tonight. No one else gets hurt. We stop him." Eleanor nodded. "There's a way, but it's dangerous. You'll have to lure them into the clearing, use the letter as bait. But it's more than just a trap, it's a test. The letter responds to truth, to unity. If you falter, it could destroy everything." Lila's hand tightened around the envelope. "We're united. We can do this. Together." A sudden rustle in the trees made all three spin. From the shadows, Victor Kane appeared, flanked by Oliver and two armed men. Their faces were twisted in rage and fear. "You think you've won?" Victor spat. "That letter, it doesn't belong to you. It never did." Aiden stepped forward, his voice steady. "It belongs to the truth. And that's something you'll never control." The creature they had seen before appeared behind Victor, massive and terrifying, but this time it hesitated. Its glowing eyes flickered toward Aiden and Lila, almost as if acknowledging their unity. Oliver lunged, but Eleanor stepped forward. "Wait," she shouted. "The letter. If they take it by force, you'll trigger its defense. And you won't survive it." Victor froze, eyes narrowing. "What trick is this?" Aiden and Lila exchanged a glance. They stepped closer together, hands on the envelope. The glow intensified, pulsing like a heartbeat, bright enough to illuminate the entire clearing. "Together," Lila whispered. "Together," Aiden echoed. The letter's glow exploded outward in a blinding flash. The ground shook, the trees bent with the force, and the creature roared, moving between them and the canes. Victor and Oliver stumbled back, shielding their eyes. "Impossible!" Victor shouted. Aiden felt a surge of energy coursing through him. The letter responded to them, not fear, not anger, but to their unity and love. The canes' power over the feud, the lies, the decades of manipulation, it began to crumble under the force of truth. And then a voice, faint, ethereal, yet powerful, echoed in the clearing. "The truth belongs to those who stand together. Choose wisely or be consumed." Aiden and Lila held the envelope tightly, hearts pounding. They knew the choice was theirs, to wield the truth as a weapon, risking everything, or let it fall into Cain's hands and watch the legacy of their families crumble forever. They looked at each other. Every memory, every secret, every promise, they had one chance. One moment to decide their fate, together. The forest fell silent. The envelope glowed brighter than the moon. And somewhere in the shadows, red eyes gleamed, waiting for the final move. Aiden whispered, "Are you ready?" Lila nodded, her lips brushing his in a kiss that was both a promise and a challenge. And then, the envelope tore itself from their hands, flying into the darkness, its glow splitting the forest in half. Aiden and Lila ran after it, unaware that the real mastermind, the one who had orchestrated every death, every feud, and every betrayal, was watching, smiling. "Let the final game begin," a voice hissed. The forest was in chaos. The envelope, glowing like a heartbeat, darted through the trees as if alive, pulling Aiden and Lila after it. Every shadow seemed to twist, every sound sharpened into a threat. But neither of them faltered. They ran together, hearts pounding, hands gripping each other like lifelines. Suddenly, the trees opened into a small clearing. There, standing in the pale moonlight, was the real mastermind, the one no one had suspected. A figure cloaked in black, their face obscured, but the voice unmistakable, calm, chilling, and full of authority. "Welcome, children," the figure said. "You've done well to survive this long." Aiden froze. Who are you?" The figure lifted the hood, revealing the sharp, familiar features of Eleanor Sinclair. Not the friend they thought she was, the one who had guided them, but the one who had orchestrated the feud, the deaths, and the manipulation all along. "Eleanor," Lila whispered, horror-struck. You were helping us?" Eleanor smiled, thin and calculating. "Helping you? Oh no, my dear. I've been shaping you, preparing you. You see, the feud, the Cains, your families, everything was part of a test. Only those willing to truly unite could claim the power of the letter. And now, you stand at the threshold." Aiden stepped forward, anger and betrayal warring in his chest. "All this, you used us?" "I guided you," Eleanor corrected. "I protected the truth and I protected the letter. But it is alive, and it seeks a worthy hand. You and Lila, you are the ones. But only one choice remains. Use it together, or perish trying." The envelope pulsed violently in Lila's hands. Aiden felt its energy coursing through them, almost like it was alive, responding to their bond. Lila looked at him, eyes filled with tears and determination. "We've been through everything, death, secrets, lies. I trust you. Are you ready?" Aiden nodded. "Always." They placed their hands together on the envelope. The glow expanded, a light so pure it turned the night into day. The forest trembled. The creature appeared one last time, circling, its glowing eyes calm now, as if acknowledging their unity. Eleanor stepped back, her smile fading. "You may have passed the test. But remember, power always demands a price." The Cains stumbled into the clearing, trying to reclaim the letter. Victor's face twisted in fury. "You can't do this. It's mine." Aiden and Lila didn't speak. They let the letter's power surge through them. A brilliant wave of energy erupted, forcing the Cains backward, their cries echoing through the trees. When the light dimmed, Victor and Oliver were gone, banished, their power broken, their legacy shattered. Aiden and Lila collapsed to the ground, breathless. The envelope lay between them, its glow soft now, peaceful. They looked at each other. "We did it," Lila whispered. "No," Aiden said, smiling faintly. We started it. Together. Eleanor stepped forward, older, human now, her eyes softer. The letter is yours. Guard it, but also forgive. Only love and truth can sustain it now. You've earned more than survival, you've earned each other. Lila took Aiden's hand. Then let's leave this behind. Together. No more shadows, no more feuds. Aiden pulled her close, their foreheads touching. No more running. No more lies. Just us. The forest, once threatening and alive with danger, fell silent. The letter's glow faded, leaving only the moonlight and the two of them holding onto each other tightly. And for the first time, in decades, the feud ended, not with vengeance or blood, but with truth, love, and unity. The wind whispered softly, almost like a promise. The darkness may rise again, but together, love is stronger. Aiden and Lila walked from the clearing, the envelope safe, their hands entwined, hearts unshakable. And though the forest still held secrets, they knew one unbreakable truth. Whatever came next, they would face it together. Years had passed since that fateful night in the forest. The feud that had once torn families apart, claimed lives, and cast shadows over every corner of their town had finally ended. The envelope, once a glowing beacon of secrets and power, now rested safely in a hidden vault, its knowledge preserved but never used for destruction. Aiden and Lila walked hand in hand along the old path through the forest, the same path where they had first chased the envelope, fought for each other, and discovered the truth. The trees seemed calmer now, their branches swaying gently, as if the forest itself had forgiven them. I still can't believe it's finally over, Lila said, smiling. After everything, all the chaos, we survived. Aiden squeezed her hand, warmth spreading through his chest. Not just survived. We won. Together. And we learned the truth. About our families, about ourselves, and about us. Lila's eyes softened. Do you ever think about Eleanor? About how she orchestrated everything? Aiden nodded. Sometimes. I think she wanted us to see the truth, but also to prove that love and trust could be stronger than power and fear. And she was right. They reached the clearing where it had all begun. The moss-covered log where they had first stopped to catch their breath still lay there, a quiet witness to their journey. Aiden leaned down, brushing a finger across its surface. Do you remember this? He asked. Lila laughed softly. How could I forget? This is where we realized we were more than just friends. Where we promised, no matter what, we'd face everything together. Aiden turned to her, eyes glinting with both love and mischief. So, does that mean we keep the promise? Lila leaned closer, resting her head against his shoulder. Always. A sudden breeze rustled the trees, carrying a familiar whisper, not threatening, not sinister, but gentle and guiding. Together, always. The memory of the envelope's glow, the forest's darkness, the canes, and the battles they had faced flashed briefly in Aiden's mind. But all that fear and danger was behind them now. As they walked away from the clearing, the forest seemed to open up, light spilling between the trees. Aiden and Lila didn't know what the future held. There would always be challenges, always be secrets waiting to be discovered, but they knew one thing: as long as they faced it together, they could endure anything. And somewhere, in the shadows, a faint glimmer of light pulsed, like the heartbeat of the envelope, still alive, still waiting, a silent reminder that truth and love were eternal, and that their story was only the beginning of a legacy that would outlast them both. Hand in hand, they stepped into the sunrise, leaving the forest and the darkness of the past behind. Years had passed. Aiden and Lila had built a life together far from the shadows of their family's feud. Their love had grown stronger, deeper, shaped by the trials they had endured. The town had changed too, old grudges had faded, and new life had begun to flourish where darkness once reigned. One crisp autumn morning, they stood at the edge of the forest, holding hands. Aiden's fingers brushed Lila's as they watched the golden leaves fall. Do you ever think about the envelope? Lila asked softly. Aiden smiled. Sometimes. But it's not just a relic. It's a reminder of everything we fought for. And everything we built, together. Just then, a small figure ran toward them, laughing. A little girl with Aiden's eyes and Lila's smile. "Mom, Dad, look what I found," she exclaimed, holding a folded piece of parchment. It wasn't the glowing envelope, no, but it bore the same careful, deliberate handwriting. Aiden's heart skipped a beat. Lila knelt beside her daughter, examining the parchment. "Where did you find this?" "In the clearing. By the old log," the girl said proudly. It was glowing for a second, and then it stopped. Aiden exchanged a glance with Lila, a mixture of awe and worry. The envelope's legacy, it seemed, was not done. He took the parchment, unfolding it carefully. The words were familiar, yet new, written in the same cryptic, guiding tone as the letter they had once held. "To the next guardians, the truth lives on. Choose wisely, love fiercely, trust one another. The game begins anew." Lila's eyes widened. "It's a warning and a lesson. The letter isn't just for us, it's for anyone who dares to carry the truth forward." Aiden pulled Lila close, kissing her forehead. "Then we teach her. Together. Whatever comes next, we face it as a family. Just like we always promised." Their daughter laughed, holding the parchment high, unaware of the danger, but feeling the magic that had protected and guided her parents. And deep in the forest, shadows shifted. Red eyes glimmered faintly between the trees, not menacing, yet unmistakably aware. The legacy of the letter, the bond of love, and the test of truth would continue. The world had changed, but the story was far from over. Aiden squeezed Lila's hand. "The future is ours." Lila smiled, eyes shining with determination. "And ours to protect." The sun rose higher, spilling light across the forest, and for the first time in generations, the clearing felt alive with hope.